5:02. It is going down on a beautiful Saturday morning. This is your boy Raashaan Myers, 96.1 FM, Big X Sports Radio. I'm so happy to be joining you guys. We have a lot to get into, people. And you know what? It's going to be a beautiful Saturday, January 17th, 2026, as we get into it. Of course, Louisville basketball is on the forefront. We are talking about the Cardinals. Things have been a little tough for the good guys. They went down in defeat to the Virginia Cavaliers on Tuesday night. I was there. I have thoughts. I hope you have thoughts. I would love to hear from you. 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Would love to hear your thoughts in regards to Louisville basketball, Louisville football, college football playoffs, NFL playoffs, everything that's going on. Would love to hear from you. So make sure you get involved there. Of course, you can also give me a call, 502-384-1450 as well. That is the Call Your Law Office hotline if you want to get in and you want to talk to me live here on the air. But you know what? It's been a very interesting week. You know, University of Louisville, of course, they did stay away from the 3-game losing streak after dropping the game versus Stanford, dropping the game versus Duke. They were able to get the win over Boston College last Saturday, just to turn around and lose to the Virginia Cavaliers, of course, without Michael Brown Jr., unable to go once again on Tuesday night. And the Virginia Cavaliers pretty much just came in and were just watching that game. It was pretty much every other Virginia Cavaliers game versus Louisville that we've seen over the last, 15 years, 18 years, however long it was that, Virginia had the kibosh on Rick Pitino versus Tony Bennett. It was pretty much the same thing with this, with the game out there. Now, of course, Louisville did win. They did beat Virginia twice last year, so credit to Coach Kelsey for getting that done last year. But, of course, that was a Virginia team that just could not get it together. They had a lot of issues going on last year. But this was much more of a representation of what, Virginia basketball has been over the last 10, 15 years. And that's credit to Coach Ryan Odom and what he was able to do. He absolutely killed it. For him, I give him that credit. But, this is about, I think that what we saw Virginia do out there on Tuesday night is probably a lot more indicative of what Louisville has going on in terms of problems rather than Virginia just being so much more dominant. I think that's kind of the jump off point. And like I said, I definitely want to hear your thoughts in regards to that as well. But, I feel like Louisville basketball is not necessarily at a crossroads because, Louisville, if you look at the opposition, you look at the teams that Louisville has lost to so far, whether it be Arkansas, whether it be Tennessee, Duke, even Stanford now with the way Stanford's playing, they just got another big win over North Carolina earlier in the week as well. And Virginia, all these teams that have beaten Louisville this year are either top 25 teams or teams that are trending towards the top 25 and are, securely seeming like NCAA tournament type teams. So while Louisville has not lost to any quote unquote bad teams, I think that Louisville definitely has some clear things that they need to work on and they need to fix. And this is kind of the first time where Coach Pat Kelsey is showing, every coach has issues. Every coach has warts. Every coach has things that they need to work on, especially when you have a young guy like Pat Kelsey who, is still reasonably new to playing at this level. When Coach Kelsey came into University of Louisville last year, he came in to probably the worst ACC that there had been in maybe my lifetime. I mean, in fact, I would say definitely my lifetime. The ACC was very much a down conference last year, as evidenced by the they only had four teams make the tournament, and if you weren't if you weren't Clemson or Duke, your seed line was terrible. So with that being said, it was definitely a situation where he was able to come in, and to his credit, persevering through the injuries, persevering through all the issues with Case and Pryor going down, Corin Johnson going down, Boubacar Traore, of course, getting hurt, as well as Noah Waterman, etc. All those guys getting hurt, Chucky Hepburn, Fat Edwards, they were able to kind of circle the wagons and get it done. Those guys were able to go out there. They were able to, figure out a way forward, and it worked out. Louisville, of course, did not play well against the best teams on their schedule last year, i.e. losing to Duke a couple of times, also losing to, of course, Creighton in the NCAA tournament. They lost to Tennessee at the beginning of the year. They lost to Ole Miss at home. We remember the games that Louisville lost, but it was a situation where Pat Kelsey did a great job of winning all the games that he needed to win and should have won. And I say that this year, I feel like the biggest difference and the biggest reason that folks are a little bit more upset right now is that, if you look at these games like the Virginia game on Tuesday night, where Louisville pretty much won all the games that they should have won, this was a game against Virginia where I feel like this was a game where Louisville should have won that game and they didn't. And this is the second game where Louisville has played an opponent, first Virginia, and prior to that, or, not first Virginia, but first was Stanford, and now most recently Virginia. That's two games, good teams. Like, there's nothing to be taken away. Stanford, Abuka Akori, that young man for Stanford, the true freshman, has been none short of outstanding. He had 36 points against North Carolina the other night. While there is there's no shame in losing to Stanford, of course, now, especially now that we see how good and how well Stanford is playing. While there's no shame in it, it feels like everybody expected, and rightly so, everybody expected that Louisville was going to take a step up to the next level this year. And Louisville has the talent. When you're talking about, Ryan Conwell, who was back off, not being able to play because of the knee injury on last Saturday. He was not able to play versus Boston College. He was able to come back. You have Ryan Conwell out there. You have Isaac McNeely out there. You have Sananda Frew out there. You have, Javon Hadley and everybody else. Pretty much you did not have Kenai Roos out there, and of course you continue to miss Michael Brown. But with the guys that Louisville had out there, a lot like Stanford, there was enough talent out there to where Louisville should have won that game. And it was a team that Louisville had more talent than, and for whatever reason, they didn't get it done. This is only, I feel like last year, I can't think of a game that Coach Kelsey lost last year where it was like, okay, they should have won that game, and they just let it off the hook. I can't think of one. If any of you guys can think of one, that in your opinion fits that criteria, I would love to hear it. But, I feel like last year, Coach Kelsey did a great job of making sure to win all the games that he should have won. And this has now happened twice where Louisville had the talent advantage and Louisville had the pieces there to get it done, and they frankly just did not get it done. And I think that's the reason why people are, up in arms, having a little bit of angst. Some people, of course, because we are just a miserable society nowadays, of course, everybody wants to go to the whole, he's not made for this level, and, he sucks, and, he just doesn't need to be the coach here. If he can't hack it, like, people love to go way too far. Every time a coach or a team loses the game or they get upset about something, they go zero to fire the coach. Not everybody, but there are a lot of people that do that. That annoys me greatly. I think it's ridiculous. So I tend to ignore that type of rhetoric and that type of talk because it's just stupid and asinine and ridiculous, honestly, for the most part. But, I think that there are definitely some things to be upset about and to be unhappy with, because Louisville has dropped the ball in these instances, a few different times. So, with that being the case this year, there are things that need to be fixed. And of course, I had conversations with Coach Kelsey after the game in the media availability press conference after the game, and I feel like that right there was kind of where I had some issues with what Coach Kelsey was saying. I think that there are some definitive problems with how he's trying to coach this team this year. And it feels a lot like Coach Kelsey is trying to coach to his concept of what the team should be, rather than coaching his team on the floor. And I, that right there is something that he's just going to have to learn. I feel like, I don't want to say because it was easy last year, and I'm going through what I was doing, y'all, is I was pulling up last year's schedule just to make sure of my comments of Louisville not really dropping a game that they should not have lost. Well, I take that back. There was one game, and I completely forgot about it. The one game that felt like Louisville lost that they should have won was the Georgia Tech game at Georgia Tech on February 1st of last year. Outside of that, but of course, that was the only game that they lost between December 14th, when they lost to Duke. When they lost to Kentucky on the 14th, and then lost to that Georgia Tech game, but it was at Georgia Tech. Because is that a team you should have beaten? Yes. But it was on the road, and I think that's why people kind of missed the Stanford loss. As you know what? Conference road game, California trip. Most teams had not won two games there. We know all of the stats that have been thrown out about it. So I felt like you just missed that. I think that when you come back and you lose to Virginia, that's the second one is the one where it's like, okay, first of all, you've lost the second game that you had more talent than the team you lost to, and you were at home. And I think that's where everybody's a little bit more upset. I just wanted to make sure. I could not remember every game that Louisville played last year, but that was the only instance. Louisville only lost one game last year against the team that they had more talent than. And that's strong. I mean, that's a strong season, because every team, loses a game here or there that they should not lose, or that may be a team that has, that they're a lesser talented team. But the fact that Louisville has now done this twice, and that's not any dig at Virginia. Virginia's a very good basketball team. Virginia's a top 25 basketball team. They're ranked number 16. But the expectations are what's different. And the reason for those expectations are Louisville has a big influx of talent. Louisville had the proof in the pudding of how good they were last year, and they've already shown that they can be a pretty strong team this year, with the neutral court win at Indiana. They go out there, they knock off a solid Memphis team. They go on the road earlier in the year, knock off a Cincinnati team. They, of course, beat Kentucky at the beginning of the year. The expectations have been raised around here. And I think that Coach Kelsey, because of his success last year, I don't know if he's being a little bit stubborn, because he's looking at things at like, this was good enough for me to win last year, so why do I need to change what I'm doing this year? And I think that's where, you kind of start to dip into some dangerous waters. And I think that Coach Kelsey, at least in terms of his coaching style for this team, he's leaning a bit too much on his laurels. And I feel like there's some opportunity there for growth. And my hope is that as he continues to look at the tape, and as he continues to pour over what happened against UVA on Tuesday night, he starts to understand the issues that they have. And to look specifically at that Virginia game, Louisville was, once again facing a team that played very big, a team that played very physical, and I thought that Coach Ryan Odom had a great game plan. I mean, Coach Odom went out there and went into that game and basically just said, you know what? We have the size. This is a Louisville team that has struggled in other teams versus, in other games versus teams with size. They struggled against Tennessee's size. They struggled against Arkansas's size. And we're just going to go and be a big physical basketball team. And everything that they basically did throughout the game was they're going to get that ball and they're going to utilize their guards to get that ball into the paint. And they're either going to attack with their guards to get to the rim like Duke did again in the second half against Louisville, or they were going to, allow their big men to either duck in and throw it to them in the paint, or they were going to allow their big men to go from the mid post and attack off the bounce and see what they could get from Louisville. And what they got was just about anything they wanted. Now, of course, Louisville did win the points in the paint battle, so people say, okay, well, if you say Virginia dominated the paint, how's that? Virginia only scored 12 points in the paint compared to the 26 points in the paint, that Louisville scored. Louisville outscored Virginia in the paint by 14 points. What are you talking about? Well, the thing is, you got to understand that in this game, that stat lies, because the reason Virginia dominated the paint, they were able to get into the middle of the lane and force all types of help. So when that help came, and the help was very wild and at times very unnecessary, it forced a ton of fouls. So first of all those fouls, were right there in the paint, either on help or big guys, either going up to shoot the basketball or getting the offensive rebound and attempt at a putback and getting fouled. It led to 29 free throws for Virginia. So, first of all, Virginia wins the free throw battle, 29 free throw attempts to only 18 free throw attempts for Louisville. And not only that, when they got the ball into the paint, because Louisville was very undisciplined in their help, several guys over helping left Virginia shooters wide open, and that led to Virginia hitting 14 threes. So understanding that dominating the paint doesn't necessarily just result in points in the paint. Dominating the paint can result in wide open three-point shots and trips to the free throw line. And in both of those situations, Virginia won the three-point battle, 14 made threes to 10, and 29 free throw attempts and 23 made free throws compared to the only 12 made free throws for Louisville. That right there is your game, people. Virginia absolutely dominated Louisville inside. And like I said, there was no, super sneaky game plan. There was no great schematic thing that Virginia did that there was just no adjustment to. All they did was take advantage of the same thing that they've seen on tape a couple of times playing against Louisville. And that right there is something that you've just got to be better, and you've got to figure that out. And, now that it's been placed on tape, a few times, in what, 4 of the 5 victories, it was just pure domination inside. The only game not pretty much, predicated on that was the Stanford win, where Stanford just had a young man that went off in a Corey from the perimeter, and Agarwal, the young man, hit some big shots. So that game really wasn't determined by any sort of post advantage. But 4 of the 5 losses have been basically determined on being big and strong. And I asked Coach Kelsey about it in the press conference, and this is where I say he may be leaning on or resting on his laurels of what happened last year and how last year played out a little too much. I asked him, I was like, Coach, this was a game where we've seen 4 out of your 5 losses have come to teams that were just big and physical and utilized their size and physicality to, lead to a win. Do you have to change up your defensive coverage, or do you have to change up your game plan to combat the way these teams are playing you right now? And Coach just looked at me and he just said, absolutely not. He said that, I believe that, to me, it's not about how big you are, it's how tough you are. It's about the toughest team. It's not about who's bigger. And that right there, y'all, is a very dangerous statement by Coach Kelsey. And I'm going to tell you why that's a dangerous statement. While I agree with Coach Kelsey that, yes, you have to be tough and you just have to be very physical even if you don't have the size. But understand this, Coach Kelsey, and you guys can tell me your thoughts on this. That's a very mid-major mentality that Coach Kelsey is working with. And that's a very mid-major conference and mid-major coach thought process. And I don't like that. And I don't think that that's successful. And I don't think that's Louisville basketball. And the reason I say that, it's not to say that toughness does not matter. But the reason that power conference and major conference and elite teams are the power conference and major conference elite teams is because, yes, you have to have toughness. But the thing about coaching at a Louisville, coaching at a Kentucky, coaching at a Arkansas, coaching at a Tennessee, coaching at a Kansas, coaching at, and out of Alabama these days, when you're at one of these teams, yes, do you have to preach toughness? Absolutely. Do you have to preach physicality? Yes, absolutely. But the difference between the power conference major powerhouse teams and those mid-major teams is both teams are teaching toughness, but your power conference big-time teams like your Kansases, Kentuckys, Louisvilles also have the size and athleticism advantage over those mid-major teams. So while, yes, you can be small and be physical and be tough and figure out a way, guess who wins that matchup most of the time? It's the power conference team. You know why? Because they have bigger, stronger guys to go along with being tough, to go along with having shooters, to go along with everything else. And Coach Kelsey has kind of slipped into this false sense of security of, because we were able to play small last year, and it was out of necessity, by the way. That was not the way it was intended going into the year. Because Louisville was able to play small last year and be successful with Javon Hadley at the 4 and, playing this undersized, plucky basketball, that worked against a very, the worst ACC of our generation, pretty much. The worst ACC conference of our generation was why that was able to work. It's because you had a North Carolina team that, pretty much only because they had their athletic director on the board, they were let in. Outside of that, they would have only gotten 3 teams into the NCAA tournament. You're talking about an ACC that was very much down on their luck last year, and the second best team in the conference, Clemson, was not a team that had a great amount of size, and Louisville was able to compete and beat that team twice. And I feel like Coach Kelsey, unfortunately, is just looking at this game and seeing what happened last year and saying, that's okay. We did it last year. We can do it this year. And that's not the case. Like, the way Louisville's playing right now, how they're trying to play, there are several teams in this conference, even though they may not have as much talent as Louisville, they are right and strong and big and physical in the right places, that they can give Louisville a heck of a time if they continue to go out here and try to play things the way they are. And there are definitely some things that Louisville can do, even playing the way that they are, playing smaller, playing with a lot of minutes with Hadley at the 4. And by the way, not having Kenai Roos in that game, I feel like, there's been a lot of conversation about how much Kenai Roos should be playing, the fact that Kenai Roos has not been playing as much as he should have, or, looking at the fact that Hadley's playing so many minutes and Kenai's not playing nearly as many. How tough was it for Louisville to deal with Virginia without having Kenai Roos on Tuesday? Like, that young man, people may want to lament the fact that he's not shooting the ball well, and he's not shooting it from 3 great, but his size, his length, his athleticism, his effort on the backboards, both offensive and defensive rebounds, that's irreplaceable. If you don't think that Kenai Roos is one of the most valuable players on this team, I don't know what you've been watching. That young man, I feel like, honestly, if Kenai Roos is out there on Tuesday night, I think that he could have been the difference between a win and a loss. And I know that's a lot of hyperbole, especially considering how much Virginia dominated that game. But I think that the game would have been much, much closer had Kanairus been available. I think that, the Virginia game did a great job of revealing exactly how difficult it would be for them to continue to be successful if you continue to play that small, because they had no choice but to play small on Tuesday night. And it was not good, y'all. Like, if Virginia can do that to you, a team like Miami can do that to you. A team like NC State can do that to you. There are several teams that can take advantage of that physical mismatch. A team like North Carolina can definitely do that to you. Caleb Wilson and Henry Visar, the two big guys that start for North Carolina, they will absolutely feast on that matchup. If you think, yes, I give Javon Hadley all the credit in the world for being tough, Caleb Wilson will eat Javon Hadley's lunch, at least on the inside, in terms of offensive rebounding, and being long and being able to just make athletic plays. I'm sorry, like, Javon is as tough as nails, and he gives 1,000,000% every time, and I appreciate that. But it's not going to work, and I think that's where the conversation has to start. Coach has to understand last year was great and last year was awesome, and I think that you're a very good coach and you have a lot that you can accomplish here, and I expect that you will accomplish here. But you got to understand that this mid-major brand of basketball, playing this undersized deal and being tough, you're coaching Louisville like a mid-major team this year. And the system and the scheme is awesome, and it works, especially when you have a healthy Michael available, because you can spread the floor and you can shoot threes. But while I agree and I love your offensive game plan, you got to start playing bigger. That mid-major, small ball, but be tough thing, that may be good enough to win you a game in March. You may be able to win a first-round game in March. You may be able to sneak by a round of 32 game in March if the matchup is correct. But dependent upon the matchup and who you face in round 2, and most definitely when you get to the Sweet 16, more likely than not, you're going home playing that way, because these teams are going to be bigger, they're going to be stronger, they're going to be more aggressive, and unless your bracket just happens to fall apart with matchups, playing the way Louisville's going to play, they're going to go home earlier than they should if they continue to play that way. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead. We're going to get to break. When we come back on the other end, we're going to start to talk about, what Louisville needs to do to fix those issues and where they can look to make some things better. You are listening to Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Big X Sports Radio, Wake Up 502. We will be back on 96.1 FM in just a few minutes. And welcome back in. Welcome back in. Second segment of the show. Wake Up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. This is your boy Raashaan Myers taking care of you this morning on this beautiful Saturday here in the Ville. Talking all things Louisville basketball, Louisville football, college football playoff, NFL playoffs, anything else you have going on. Of course, 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Would love to hear from you this morning. If you want to give me a call, 502-384-1450. That is the Call Your Law Office hotline. And you know what? We already got some conversations coming through on the text line. Definitely want to get to those and your thoughts. But before we get to those, we left off, we were discussing Louisville basketball and my thoughts about where their biggest issues are. Losers of 3 of their last 4 games. There are definitely some issues and some things that need to be taken care of. I don't think it is time to hit the panic button, not at all, because, like I said, Louisville has lost to, the 5 games that they've lost, where you don't like the fact that they've lost 5 games at this point in the season. All 5 games are the teams that are either securely in the NCAA tournament field right now, or are, definitely threatening to be in the field and could very well hear their name called on Selection Sunday. So I don't think it's necessarily an opportunity to start panicking. I think that Louisville is definitely a team that is still top 20 good. I think that they still have everything they need to make a run, but it's time to go ahead and start putting your best foot forward. And I think that starts with trying to figure out what they need to do to turn the corner. It's a time to start figuring out what you need to do to answer some of these issues. And like I said, I really believe that Coach Kelsey is the person for the job. Anybody who's talked about, he's in over his head or he's not built for this level, I respectfully disagree with that. Also, as I can respectfully disagree with Coach Kelsey on things, I can also respectfully disagree with fans or people that are watching that say Kelsey's in over his head. And I think Coach Kelsey has everything he needs to be ultra successful at this level. But I do think that there are some things that he needs to just adjust and learn what does and does not work at this level of basketball. And, I've said all year that I felt like, his system and his beliefs can sometimes be a blind spot for him. And I think that's where, we need to see the most growth in Coach Kelsey. I've lamented a lot about Javon Hadley playing that force position, but just because I lament Javon Hadley playing that 4 spot doesn't mean I want to see Javon Hadley on the bench. To me, the biggest thing that Coach Kelsey can do to help Louisville out is slide Javon up a spot. And, of course, if you do that, you're going to either do one of 2 things. You're either going to, you're either going to have to set down Isaac McNeely and, make that adjustment there where Isaac McNeely is going to, be jumping off coming off the bench, or you're going to have to slide out. Who do you want to move out there? Adrian Woolley. Right now, do you want to move Adrian Woolley to the bench and have, a McNeely and Conwell at the 1 and the 2, Hadley at the 3? You can do that. You're definitely not setting down Ryan Conwell. So, if you move Hadley to the 3, 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either McNeely's going to the bench or Woolley's going to the bench. Right now, I would say Adrian Woolley's been struggling a little bit, so maybe that's the way you go, and go ahead and move Woolley back to the bench where he can be kind of that energy guy off of the, as a reserve. I think that's probably the smarter play at this point. For a while there, Adrian Woolley had been playing good basketball, and I think he could have gotten away with it. But right now, he's just not playing. He looks, a little overwhelmed after having a couple of strong games when Michael Brown first went down with the injury. It seems like his head is spinning a little bit, and I don't know if it's the defensive teams that Louisville's facing kind of make some adjustments and kind of taking away some of the things that Woolley likes to do. But for whatever reason, Adrian Woolley's game has been a little bit inconsistent. So I don't Like right now, I think your best five, honestly, if I was to suggest, and Coach Kelsey ain't gonna listen to me, even though he has to listen to me in the press conferences, but he doesn't have to listen to me in terms of game planning. But what I would personally do, you have Conwell in there at the one, or honestly, how about maybe playing Isaac McNeely at the one, and seeing what he can do in terms of that. He ran some point guard for Virginia last year, so maybe you let Isaac have a play at it and let Conwell stay off ball. But you have that backcourt of Conwell and McNeely. You move Javon Hadley to the 3 spot. You insert Kenai Roos as long as he's healthy. He missed the last game with the illness. You insert Kenai Roos in there at the 4 spot, and of course Sananda Frew and holding it down in the middle. I think that if you do that, that continues to leave 3 very good, to 2 great shooters definitely, and a very reliable shooter in Javon Hadley out there on the court. So you still have your 3 shooters on the court. You add Kenai Roos, who's going to give you athleticism. He's going to give you length. He's going to give you great defensive ball pressure that can defend 1 through 5. And he's also going to give you a very, very active rebounder. So that gives you 2 very active defensive players in Hadley and Roos at the 4. And Sananda Frew who's also a very strong defender, very strong rebounder, and gives you some post scoring and things of that nature. To me, that's the lineup that you have to go with for right now. And of course, when Michael Brown comes back, and I do say when he comes back, not if he comes back, I have very strong belief that Michael Brown will be back. And from the information that I have received about what's going on with Michael, that win is going to be a lot sooner rather than later. I'm not saying he's going to be out there today. I don't expect that, but I will say he's going to be out there very soon. So, there's going to be a week layoff between this game today and next weekend's game back at home versus Virginia Tech. And I'm not guaranteeing that Michael will be out there next Saturday, but I will say that there is growing optimism that we will see Michael come back in the next 2 to 3 games. So, I'll just leave it at that and let those chips fall where they may. But regardless of when Michael Brown Jr. comes back, I definitely think that there is some opportunity out there for Louisville to make some hay, for them to be able to shore up some things. Because even once Michael comes back, these fundamental issues that we're talking about, y'all, supersede all of that. Like, we understand what Michael Brown means as a playmaker, as a point guard, as a facilitator, but the issues that I have with what Coach Kelsey is doing right now, to me, maybe it's better that Michael's not here, because Michael covers up so many things that, let's say he's out here and Louisville's able to just outscore some opponents, and you can kind of ignore the fact that they're getting dominated in the paint because McNeely, and Conwell are just lighting it up from the perimeter. I feel like if you get this right, and then you bring Michael back, and you've adjusted to the fact that you understand that you need to start playing bigger and more physically, then I feel like Louisville takes another step forward. If we can fix the physicality and you bring back Michael Brown Jr., I think that sets you in a better place going forward. So that's why I think regardless of when that young man comes back, Louisville has got to get these fundamental issues fixed if they want to be as good a team as they want, because we saw what happened, with Michael Brown Jr. playing this small ball lineup. Arkansas absolutely took Louisville's lunch. And for more than half of a game, Cincinnati took Louisville's lunch. And in some ways, even Memphis basketball, who Louisville did, win, they had the victory, still kind of took Louisville's lunch in the paint. So there are some fundamental issues that need to be fixed, and I think that Michael Brown Jr. helps cover up a lot of things, but that does not fix the fundamental flaws and fundamental issues of this team. So, I think that right there is where we need to see some growth and some improvement from Coach Kelsey. This is a coaching thing. This is not on the players. I feel like the players are out there, they're playing hard. I don't think they're being coached properly. And in the terms of Kayshawn Pryor, I don't think Kayshawn's getting enough opportunity. He's being held to a ridiculously high standard, and as soon as he makes a mistake, the young man's back on the bench. And for a guy who missed a ton of last year, he only played in 7 healthy games last year before he went down with the injury. He's a young man that's not played a lot of basketball, and he's being snatched out of the game when he's still trying to get his timing down. He's still trying to get his position down and his placement down, and the coaching staff is just not giving him enough time and enough run to work it out. Like, we have to remember, he has not played a lot of basketball. So guess what? When you only played 7 games all of last year, you sit out as you rehab a knee injury, you come back this year, and now you're only playing 2 or 3 minutes at a time. You're never going to get that back until you give that young man time on the court. So while you can talk about, okay, he threw a terrible pass, or, oh, he missed a wide open shot, or, oh, he made a bad decision. Okay, we understand that, but you got to let him work through that, because he's shown that he can be a very high-level player at the collegiate level. But you got to let him work through those issues. And there are some things about the way, the coaching staff is handling some of these situations this year where there's a lot of missteps being taken. Last year, I thought Louisville did a great job. Coach Kelsey did a great job. The coaching staff did a great job of hitting all the right notes and doing all the right things to get the most out of that team. This year, I don't feel that's the case. I don't feel like Louisville is getting the most out of their talent. And, that's somewhere where they've got to be better and they've got to do better. 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. We have your text flying in here early. First texter texts us in, says, Frew still has a lot of fans fooled about how good he is. He creates nothing on his own. Scores off passes against nobodies. He's a no-show against good bigs. Defensively, he is so soft and scares nobody from coming in the lane. No motor at all. I pretty much disagree with everything that texter just said. Let's break this down, each one of your comments at a time. First of all, you say Frew still has a lot of fans fooled on how good he is. I mean, that's, that can be up for interpretation, so I can't really argue with that. But first of all, you said he creates nothing on his own. That's wrong. We've seen Sananda Frew catch and shoot from the perimeter. We've seen Sananda Frew catch the ball, have space, attack the ball, attack the rim off the bounce, finish with his left hand, finish with his right hand. We've seen him post, get the ball in the post and be able to score over his left and his right shoulder. Those are all literally creating on your own. Those are opportunities where you're making an offensive move. When you talk about a guy who creates nothing on his own, I'm thinking about, honestly, James Scott, who you had last year, where you basically had the table set James Scott and throw an alley-oop. He was very good at jumping up, grabbing the pass and dunking it, but James Scott was not creating anything. James Scott was not, back down, post, turn, hook shot. He wasn't doing anything. So when you talk about a big that doesn't create on their own, I would say James Scott was much more of a, we have to run the offense to get him looks. Sananda Frew has shown in several different opportunities that if you give him the ball, especially you look at the game last Saturday, 19 points, 13 rebounds, was doing his work from all over. He knocked down a 3 in that game. He scored on the post up several times. And when Louisville was able to get him the ball in the best position to succeed, he played very well. So I completely disagree with that first point. He said scores off passes against nobodies. He scored against everybody. I mean, that right there is another one where I just, I tend to disagree with you in regards to that. I mean, when I look at Sananda Frew, you look at his numbers over the year. You say he scores against nobodies. All right, let's take a look at Sananda Frew's game log, shall we? Sananda Frew. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, in some of these games, he struggled to score big time points, but on the road at Arkansas, one of the better teams that Louisville's played this year, I think everybody would agree with that. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. That's not scoring against nobodies. He scored 12.7 rebounds against Indiana up there at the Fieldhouse. That's not a nobody. Did not have a great game against Tennessee. Did not have a great game against Duke. So, and of course did not have a great game against Virginia. So in those last 3 games against the best competition, he did not score the basketball very well. But I would say that's more a product of the type of offense Louisville's running more than it is Sananda Frew. Louisville has not done a good job of getting Frew the ball in position where he can go and he can do something with it. Okay, so it's twofold. First of all, you got to get him the ball where he can do something with it. And B, you've got to add more size out there, because what's happening is these other teams, especially the big power teams, are playing with multiple big athletic players. They are throwing doubles at him. They are, pushing him out, and he has nowhere to go with the basketball. When you play with more size out there, you can't help so freely, because if you bring a big to big double team, okay, if Frew gets the ball on the block or right off the block, if you come over and you overhelp, now you can float the ball up to the rim, make a nice little easy pass for Kenai Roos or a Kason Pryor. There are some other things, big to big passing, that you can do that's going to help Frew to be a lot more effective down there. So I think that Frew is more a product of, I don't think he's getting the ball in the right position enough against the good teams, and I think that we're becoming way too guard-centric in how they're setting everything up. I think that he's, in my personal opinion, until Michael Brown Jr. comes back, I think Frew needs more touches, not less, but it's more important about where those touches are more than anything else. So, that's what I'll say about that. And again, we talked about no-show against good bigs. That's false. He played very well against Arkansas, and they had a nice, he had a nice game against them. And defensively, he's so soft and scares nobody. We talk about if you're soft, you're not grabbing 14 rebounds against California. If you're soft, you're not grabbing 13 rebounds against Boston College and all of their guys out there. I mean, the young man is averaging. People keep talking about they miss James Scott, and oh my goodness, James Scott, was so much better than Sananda Frew. Here's a little fact for you. Sananda Frew is averaging more points. He's averaging 3 more points than James Scott did. He's averaging a rebound and a half more than Scott did, and he's averaging almost a full block more per game than what James Scott did, and he's doing it in less minutes. So miss me with all that. Last text before we go to our top of the hour break. Texter says, let's see, hold on. He says, next season's front court recruiting will tell you everything you need to know about PK and his potential to be the coach at Louisville for years to come. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I agree with that. I think that Coach Kelsey definitely needs to figure things out. I think that Louisville has the bigs this year. If you have a healthy Kenai Roos, and if you actually decide you're going to suck it up and play Kason Pryor and actually utilize him, you're going to have an opportunity to do some nice things. So I think that the big recruiting for next year is important. If they decide to try to find another undersized power forward type of guy, like, that's the thing, though. Javon Hadley was not recruited here to be the power forward, y'all. Like, the only reason, like, Louisville's original plan was to play Kason Pryor at the 4, Noah Waterman at the 5, bring James Scott off the bench to play the 4 and the 5 when one of those two guys were, dog tired. If you need proof of that, go back and watch the Louisville games in the Bahamas on YouTube from before the season. Javon Hadley was not playing the 4 at all. He was playing the 3. And they also have a Boubacar Traore that was going to play the 4 and the 3 as well. The plan was never to play small. It was the injuries. Once Kason Pryor went down with the knee injury, and Noah Waterman started having all the issues he did with the broken hand and the wrist injury, that's when they started playing small and having to do some of those things. So, I think that Louisville just kind of, Coach Kelsey just kind of got sucked into, okay, this worked last year, and we were able to get it done with Javon playing the 4. And I feel like he just has kind of fallen into a trap of, resting on what worked last year and hoping that it works this year. Well, hope ain't a plan, and it's January 17th. It's time to start figuring out what you need to do to get this team to the to the next level. But I tell you what, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get to our next break. When we come back, we have tons more to get into. We got interns Ray in the building. We're going to talk a little bit of college football playoff. We're going to talk NFL playoffs. I want to get Dre's thoughts on that. Some of the things that he's looking forward to. We're also going to continue to take your texts and more. You are listening to Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers will be back on the Big X. And welcome back. Welcome back. This is the second hour of the show. Wake up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. WXVW is going down on a beautiful Saturday morning. This is your boy, Raashaan Myers, host, taking care of you this morning. And as we talked about, we got some great people in the studio with us today. But before we talk about that and much, much more, I do need to remind you, the Feet First store in Jeffersonville, Indiana, is helping Kentuckiana move better, feel better every day. If you are dealing with plantar fasciitis, knee pain, back pain, or you spend all day on your feet at work, they have everything to get you covered. Their personally fitted orthotic system is designed to improve balance, alignment, and overall comfort. Athletes can see better stability and performance, and everyday workers get the relief they need to keep going strong. Schedule your appointment by calling 812-725-0208 or visit feetfirststore.com to book online. You can find the Feet First store at 2781 Jefferson Center Way in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Make sure you go out there, say hello to my buddy Chris Cannon. Knows everything about feet and how your feet work, and the best thing to do to give you the relief that you need. You know, folks that are up and standing, if you're working, if you're working out, at FedEx, or working out at UPS, or you're on your feet lifting boxes, or you're running around delivering door dashes, anything, we use our feet all the time, folks. So, you need to make sure that you're taking care of your feet. Make sure you're not putting undue stress on your knees, undue stress on your back. I am a big proponent of that. You all know that I'm super, super active. I like to stay in the gym playing basketball. I like to get up and around and keep moving. I cannot do that if my feet are not together. So Chris definitely helped me out, and he'll help you out as well. So make sure you check out Chris Cannon, and he will definitely do what he needs to do to help you out there. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to the Call Your Law Office hotline. I believe we got a caller on the line. Caller, who's this? This Jay?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning, Jay. How you doing, brother?
How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing all right. It's a Saturday. We got to see if Louisville can bounce back. They had the loss against Virginia on Tuesday, Jay. So, they're on the road. They're at Pittsburgh. Jeff Capel had a rough start to the season. Pittsburgh has not been playing, or at least wasn't playing well early, but they've been playing pretty well as of late. They got a pretty decent win their last time out. How are you feeling, Jay? How are you feeling about the game against Pittsburgh today? What'd you think about the loss against Virginia on Tuesday?
Well, first of all, I think about the
TV. Yo, you busted the TV up, Jay?
Well, I'm sick of it. Listen, man, I watched this team from offense to defense, man, and it's no heart. I don't see any heart, no dogs in them. Just grab through the offense, and nothing aggressive through the offense. Not enough pressure on the defensive end. There are so many elements right now. This basketball team. At the beginning of the season, this team was probably one of the top 10, top 5, top 10 teams in the country, and still is by being physically healthy. But this team can still pull through the adversity of what I just said, Raashaan, because everybody's like basically catting them out and insinuating with LeBron Jr. and so forth. But I think this team still has the qualifications, offensively and defensively, to do something in the top 25 and plus to an agency tournament, and hopefully get a nice bid into the NCAA tournament and run to the Final Four, man.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I agree with you. The one good thing I will say about Louisville, even though you don't want to see them lose, I really do think that a lot of people, especially a lot of national people, they're going to be able to use the excuse of, okay, well, this is Louisville. They're losing without Michael Brown Jr. They were 9-1 with Michael. So if Michael can come back and Louisville can have some nice wins down the stretch, I really do think that a lot of people will kind of ignore what's happened over the last couple of weeks, So I don't think that all's been lost, but they do need to get some things figured out. Like for you, Jay, first of all, do you think they're going to take care of business on the road against Pittsburgh? And what do you think Coach Kelsey needs to do to get things fixed for him?
work out some new offense strategy, some different types of offense steps.
Yeah.
Get more aggressive on the defensive end. Use the Incredible Hulk at times for on the defensive end. And just use some creativity, man, on the outskirts of the basketball team. But I think that Kelsey will win today, at least by 6 or 7 points. Looney get back into the swing of things with Raashaan and the SEC tournament, conference play actually. Because they're still getting cut into the meat real deep.
Yeah.
And you don't want to fall off. You don't want to fall off the circuit too much. But I understand about the injuries and things like that. Got to play more aggressive on the defensive end.
Yeah.
A little more dog, like I said, and they'll be just fine.
Yeah, no doubt, absolutely. All right, and hey, before we get you out of here, first of all, Jay, I need to know who you picking in the national championship game. Is Miami gonna get it done, or are the Indiana Hoosiers gonna win their first championship?
Indiana gonna win.
Okay, so you backing the Hoosiers?
Yeah, they're better offense, better defense, aggressive, great, big offensive line, great defensive skill set players. I mean, Indiana just showed me that they for real. Got a real poise. Look, the coach real quiet, laid back, a little bit morale in what he does, and a great coach, fab.
Yeah.
Indiana will win by at least by 14, 21 points.
Oh, wow. So you picking Indiana to blow out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah. When you watching the game, you watch the Pittsburgh later today?
I might have to get out and about. And I don't know. Last time I got out and watched Louisville play, they lost, Jay. So I don't know. I might have to stay on the crib. Last time I went out, I thought they was going to get an easy victory. The last time I actually got to go out and watch a game, it was the Stanford game. I went out and hung out to watch that. We ended up losing. I had these Kentucky fans in my ear talking crazy. So I don't know if I won't get out there today, Jay. I might have to watch that one from the crib, but we'll see. I'll let you know for sure.
Real quick, Raashaan, in the closing remarks, man.
Yes, sir.
Give me your intake with Lamar Jackson. What's the head coach? The owners is playing ping pong ball with Lamar and saying that he wants him to get to find what the head coach is and have a relationship with that. But I think a lot of these players are going to go into Harbaugh's favor.
Well, I mean, look. So Jeff Harbaugh, he was let go, of course, after the Ravens lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2 weeks ago, they decided to go ahead and let Harbaugh go. And the owner came out and said that he definitely wants Lamar Jackson's input. I believe Baltimore has interviewed 11 head coaches so far. And I think that, to me, Lamar's going to have a big impact. They want to go ahead. They want to get his contract renegotiated. They want to renegotiate his contract so they can get some money off the books. I believe they said if they renegotiate his deal, they can open up $52 million in cap space if he restructures his contract. So that would be huge for the Baltimore Ravens. That would be huge for the new coach coming in. But I personally think that, Jay, Lamar is going to go and look. He's going to want to find a head coach with an offensive background. He's going to want to find a coach that's, been known for being aggressive and for putting up points. And I think they'll look for a young defensive coordinator that's already had some success in the NFL. A guy like Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, come to mind. I know they've interviewed a couple of other guys as well. I think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to make some nice moves, and I expect that they're going to be ready to move forward. But it's all about Lamar Jackson. They said that they want to put this franchise in Lamar Jackson's hands and let him lead this team into the next generation, So we'll see. I think that they have a big decision, but I do think that we'll probably see the Ravens hire their head coach this upcoming week.
Wow, that's huge, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah. That's big time.
Raashaan Hagan and Art Kellerman, as always, a pleasure, man. That's just where it's ready to go. And stick around next week, and I'm going to give not just one the details about the J. Harris Celebrity Birthday Bash. Details what's going on with that, the location. I found the location. I found a great location, actually, Raashaan. And see all details about it next weekend, man.
Cool. Jay Harris, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. for all that you do, man. And we'll chat with you soon, okay?
All right, sir. Take it easy.
There we go. Jay Hass checking in this morning. Definitely appreciate him checking in on the Collier Law Office hotline, 502-384-1450. Of course, if you want to give a call in, you can join us as well. And now we have to go ahead and say what's up to one of our favorite correspondents, young man still, figuring his way out, but he always has his takes. Intern Dre. What's going on, Dre? Good morning. How you feeling, man?
Pretty good.
Good, man. So, all right. So you heard Jay Hass's conversation. I asked him about Miami. Do they have a shot against Indiana in the college football playoff national championship game on Saturday? Dre, I know football is your thing. I know you have been watching all of these games. So, of course, we know Indiana blew out Oregon last week. We know that Miami was able to take care of Ole Miss, knocked off Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss. Those guys, they did everything they could, but Miami got it done just by kind of being physical, beating them up. So how are you feeling? We're only, a couple of days out from the national championship game. Does Miami have a shot? Because I'm hearing a lot like what Jay has said. Everybody's calling for Indiana to just kind of blow out Miami. What do you think about that?
I agree with them.
Okay. So you're all on the Indiana train as well.
Yep. So Miami's gonna lose because I don't believe that if they're a good face, they haven't really played that many great teams.
Yeah.
And they lost Louisville somehow.
So because they lost Louisville, basically you said there's no way that they're gonna win it when they lost to Louisville.
Yep. So when they were playing, I didn't really see the aggressiveness that they used to have after Carson Beck threw that many picks against Louisville.
Yeah.
They kind of toned it down a little bit, like how Louisville did when playing SMU.
Yes.
You know how they kind of shrink down the playbook, inside runs, short passes, don't go into double teams, don't throw it deep, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But now, what I'm seeing now from Carson Beck, they're kind of opening up the playbook a little bit. But I don't think that's going to be enough. So I think Indiana's going to get the dub here.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to take a look and see what the spread is on that game. Let's see. So as of right now, let's see. We're looking at Monday night championship game coming up here on good old ESPN. Let's see. So as it stands right now, wow, Indiana is an 8.5 point favorite. That is a huge spread for a national championship game. I saw some conversations talking about the biggest spreads in the championship game all time, and this is one of the biggest spreads of all time. So Indiana is a humongous favorite in this game. So Dre, everybody else, including Vegas, feels the same way that you feel.
Yep.
That it's going to be a Hoosiers beat down. But all I'm going to say is this. Well, I agree with you. Miami has not faced any team as good as Indiana as of yet. They did face and knock off a couple of powerhouse teams in the Ole Miss Rebs. They were able to knock off a powerhouse team in the Ohio State Buckeyes, the team that Indiana, they had some trouble with Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. They were able to get it done, but it was not a walk in the park. And Miami handled that Ohio State team pretty easily. I'll tell you this. I definitely agree that Indiana is the better team. I think Fernando Mendoza is the better quarterback. I definitely trust him a lot more than Carson Beck. And I feel like if Mendoza can get the ball out of his hands quickly, that he won't have any issues. But this is the one thing, Dre, that I will warn you about, brother, and this is something that I learned a long time ago, is that everybody got a plan till they get hit. And the one thing about this Miami team that Indiana has not had to face as of yet is a team with a ferocious defensive line. And Miami has the best defensive line and the best defensive front in this whole college football playoff.
You know what Indiana has?
Oh, Indiana has a very strong defensive.
The best offensive line in the nation.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. So this is going to be strength on strength. It's like, can the Indiana offensive line stand up to Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain Jr.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, to me, that's the whole game inside the game, right? Because I think what's made Indiana so effective over their run to the college football playoff is that they've been able to control the line of scrimmage. You talked about it, Dre. The fact that they are so good up front blocking, they're able to run the ball when they want to. They're able to give Mendoza time to, let those receivers get down the field and Mendoza find those guys down the field for 6. So, like, if Ruben Bain Jr. can get into the backfield, he can cause some problems.
Yeah, and that might be a problem for Mendoza, like, going in the NFL because he might not always have that great offensive line to protect him. To, like, some pretty terrible teams.
And trust me, he's probably going to be going to my Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Oakland Raiders. He's gonna be suiting up for my Las Vegas Raiders more than probably without a doubt that's going to be who the Raiders take with the first pick.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Raiders offensive line is garbage.
He's probably throwing more picks than Geno Smith.
Yeah. So I agree with you. He better not get used to having a good offensive line if he's going to be playing for the Raiders next year. So that's the question. But I mean, when you talk about the fact that this is, like I said, and I mentioned it on the show last week, Dre, is that Fernando Mendoza has thrown more touchdown passes in the college football playoff in the 2 games he's played than he has thrown in incompletions.
I know.
That's unbelievable.
It's like, I don't know if it's coaching or just he's just so good. I mean,
I don't know. Like he's putting up Joe Burrow numbers, and I thought that Joe Burrow and LSU, man, that was one of the most dominant teams ever. And Mendoza's putting up Burrow numbers right now.
Yes, he is.
It's crazy. I don't know. Like I am very excited. I think that there's no doubt that Indiana. There's no doubt that Indiana's the better team. They deserve to be the favorite. I'm gonna tell you what, though. I'm not taking 8.5. I am a firm believer that when you're playing and you're trying to win a championship, the one thing that you always learn, Dre, is that there's always going to be a game where you are life and death to win it. And the fact that Indiana has blown out everybody they play, they blew out Alabama, they blew out Oregon, they're handling these teams. This Miami game is going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be into the fourth quarter.
You still trust Miami?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because of the way that they run the football, Mark Fletcher has been a demon run the football. They can slow the game down. They can possess the rock. And their defensive line can cause havoc. And all you need is to get into that backfield, tip a ball up in the air and get a tipped interception, strip sack, fumble. You can turn the game on its ear really quickly. Football is a game of momentum. And all it takes is for that team that's been dominant and that team that's been looking good and walking with his chest all puffed out. All it takes is one mistake, Dre. It's all it takes.
And that one mistake will happen, but it won't be this game.
Okay.
It won't be that game. You know why?
Okay. Why is that?
All my Indiana fans out there. Who's just? Okay.
Hey. Okay.
I want to give Indiana props to coming out and beating Miami Heat or Miami Hurricanes,
yeah.
Or all the other Miami teams out there, Florida Gators, Florida State Seminoles. All the Florida teams are bad out there. So, Indiana, go get the dub.
Okay. All right. And you know what? We are a Southern Indiana radio station. I know we're our actual physical studio is now here in Louisville, right off Taylorsville Road, but we are a Southern Indiana radio station. So there's a lot of Hoosier fans that are listening to you. So you probably made some folks whole morning right there with that, Dre. So
yep.
I like it. We're going to get back to the text line, 502-414-1450. The Game Day Men's Health text line. Texter says, good morning, Wake Up 502. Main event, happy MLK Day and happy birthday, Muhammad Ali. He said, Raashaan, Don't forget to buy an Ali stamp. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to buy an Ali stamp and give it to my daddy. My daddy is a big Muhammad Ali guy, so
my dad too.
I need to do that. Yeah, Dre, you need to get your daddy a stamp.
Practicing last night. It was like, you guys can't touch me.
Very nice, very nice. I like that. It says, let's see, Raashaan, what happened at the end of the male St. X game last night at the LIT with male's coach had to be restrained by police? I heard something about this. Tim Hayworth, the coach at Male, like from what I understand, Jason Frakes, who is like the high school basketball beat writer or the high school beat writer for the Courier Journal, he said that it was a bit overblown to say that he had to be restrained by police. Apparently, there was something that went down at the end of the male St. X game. St. X got the victory, and there may have been some controversy. Let's just say that.
Josh Lindsay?
Oh, yeah, Josh Lindsay was balling. Lindsay was balling last night. He had a nice putback dunk in the game. He made the highlight of the night. Shout out to Lil Josh. That's my dude. You know, him and Cam, grew up together, played a lot of ball together. So I love seeing what Lil Josh is doing. But, yeah, St. X is moving to the LIT championship. They are moving to the final. They knocked off Male. But two very good teams. Trey Hillerick for Male is one of the best prospects in the state. I know that University of Louisville has been courting him, and they have been after him. There's a lot of local kids that University of Louisville is on right now. You know, Josh has been offered by several programs, including the Indiana Hoosiers.
And football, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of football talent. There's a ton of basketball talent. Right now, there is a lot of talent here in the state. You know, you have Raashaan Rondo's son, Pierre, up there at North Hardin. He's doing some nice things as well. Not North Hardin, North Oldham. North Oldham. He's playing some good ball up there. And there's, of course, a ton of football talent. Of course, the young man from Christian Academy, wide receiver, just committed to Indiana last week at the Navy All-American game. Of course, Briggs Cherry, the quarterback from Tennessee, committed to University of Louisville. Of course, he had a very good game in the Navy All-American game, so shout out to him. Louisville also got a commitment from the young man Allen, from the cornerback from Trinity, 6'2", 190-pound, said he's the best cover corner in high school, in his high school recruiting class in 2027.
Yeah, he's ranked nationally.
Yes, he's ranked in top 100. I believe he's ranked number 29, I believe, 17, either 29 or 17. Those are two numbers that are sticking out of my head, but they said this would be the highest ranked player to ever commit to Louisville outside of Michael Bush. Who good too. Oh yeah, he's good. He's good. So, you know, a lot of great talent here in the state. Coach Brom and Coach Kelsey are trying to look to keep it at home, so hopefully they can do that. Texas says, lastly, the caller on the Louisville postgame show was right. Kelsey can take his College of Charleston playbook and leave. Come on. Now, see?
Don't kick him out the window.
This is what I'm talking about.
Man. Give him a chance.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's my whole thing. You can't
like PTSD from Kenny Payne.
Yes. Like, everybody wants to throw the coach out. Dre, what do you think about everybody? Every time a team loses a game, they want to fire the coach.
Every time you guys lose a game, they think about, you got PTSD from all losing game of Kenny Payne saying, we got to do better, guys. It was a good atmosphere. Even though we had like 100 people come out today. Tuesday Night Lights. Hey, lost to NJIT.
That's hilarious. Right. Like, there's a lot of difference between Kenny Payne and Coach Kelsey. Coach Kelsey has a top 25 team. Yes, have they lost a couple of games? Yes. Were you at the Virginia game, Dre?
No, but I did see it was pretty bad.
It was terrible.
My dad was crashing out. Just got to go downstairs for a little bit.
Oh, it was terrible.
Watch the Kentucky game, try to get his memory back.
There you go. Hey, well, look, you know what? And that's the one thing that we can all agree on is that even though Louisville is having some tough times right now, at least they're not as bad as Kentucky.
Hey, at least we beat Kentucky, too.
Absolutely. We beat Kentucky. They were life and death to beat a terrible LSU team and celebrate it like they won the national championship. Yeah. LSU is 0-4 in the SEC. So congratulations on storming the court for beating the 0-4 SEC team, Kentucky. They play to Tennessee today at noon.
Yep.
By the way,
automatic loss.
Oh yeah, no, the Vols is kicking that tail. I keep hearing Kentucky fans talk about they've owned Tennessee in Knoxville. They ain't beating Tennessee today. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't even know what the spread is. I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you, you might as well take Tennessee and whatever points is out there. I'm telling you, Kentucky's not winning, so y'all can hang that up. Texter says, this is Red Zeppelin. What's going on, Red? He says, is K9 out again today? Does he have the flu or pneumonia? I don't know if Kenai Roos is out today. I have not checked. I'm gonna have to check on X just to make sure. I have not gotten any updates on that as of yet. So we'll have to check in on that. Let's see. I am checking on the interwebs, and as of right now, I am not seeing. Let's go to my boy Matt McGavick, because Matt always stays up on the most current of Louisville injuries. Let's see, Matt McGavick on X. Here he is. Let's see. So as of right now, let's see. We have, here we go, injury report for Louisville. They have not put out the injury report for today as of yet, but as of the injury report from yesterday, we are looking at, oh, wow, yeah, so both Kenai Roos and Michael Brown Jr. are out today. So, yeah, it's already been announced. Nobody else is questionable or probable. So, yes, Kenai Roos will miss his second game in a row. That sucks. That's unfortunate. We just talked about how, the impact of having Kenai Roos and having that guy out there, what a difference he makes. But you know what, Dre? I'm telling you, this is why a guy like Kayshawn Pryor, man, you've got to find a way to get Kayshawn Pryor playing good basketball.
Yeah, and because of that, we need to change up our starting lineup too. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got to find a way to play bigger. Like, to me, you got to take the kid gloves off. You got to get Kaysen in there. Louisville needs him to play well. The coaching staff talked about how Kaysen was one of the best, 2 or 3 players on the team last year. They said they felt he was playing the best of anybody. Well, if Kaysen Pryor is that good, yes, he hasn't been playing great so far this year. You got to let that dude just go out there and play through mistakes
and let London Johnson show what he's doing out there.
Well, hey, and London Johnson was supposed to play, and Coach Kelsey said that at the last second, London decided that he wasn't going to play anymore.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so now he's not even going to play. He's going to keep his red shirt on, and just decided he's not going to, he's not going to play anymore. So there's a lot happening. I tell you what, 502-414-1450. That is the game day men's health text line. We're going to keep reading your texts. Keep sending them in. I see them coming in. If you all have any predictions for the college football national championship game, send those in as well. If you have any favorite picks for the NFL playoffs, I'm going to get Dre's thoughts on a couple of those games when we get back as well. We will be back. You are listening. This is Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, intern Dre, and we'll be back on 96.1. And welcome back. Welcome back. Last segment of the show. Wake Up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. Raashaan Myers, intern Dre, taking care of you this morning, counting you down to tip off. Of course, tonight, University of Louisville will be on the road, going into the danger zone, Dre. They're going into the danger zone. Pittsburgh, the Oakland Zoo, a team that Louisville has owned over the years. One of the favorite things since joining both the Big East and continuing it in the ACC is going on the road and beating up on some Pitt Panthers. They hate Louisville. We don't like them. We always point and laugh at them because more times than not, we get the victory. Louisville needs to get that win today. So hopefully they can keep that rolling. Big stakes, 8 p.m. That game is going to be on ESPN2. So make sure you check that out, that tip off at 8 o'clock. Like I said, Kentucky gets us going today. Noon tip down in Knoxville, number 24, Tennessee Volunteers. Kentucky looking for their first victory over a no doubt guaranteed lockdown NCAA tournament team. That's where they're at right now. Like I said, there are levels to things. And while Louisville has definitely not put their best foot forward, they are not in the same category as Kentucky. Kentucky is fighting for their lives. These teams, they're having to have miracle. Did you see that miracle shot that Kentucky hit, Dre, to beat LSU?
Yeah, I saw it.
It was like the Christian. I know you're way too young to remember the Christian Laettner play, but there's a. Do you know who Christian Laettner is, by the way?
No, but my dad was talking about it when he saw the clip.
Yeah, it's literally, if you go back, it was the 1994 regional final. So this is the Elite Eight game, okay? Yeah. It was Kentucky and Duke, and they threw the length of the court. This one, Rick Pitino was coaching Kentucky. Threw it the length of the court. Christian Laettner was the National Player of the Year for Duke. He threw it down there and caught it pretty much exactly the same spot that Malachi Moreno caught the ball, turned, and hit the shot, buzzer beater. Duke goes to the Final Four. Kentucky goes home crying. It was one of the greatest days for a Louisville fan.
Hepburn did in the ACC tournament.
Exactly. Same type of deal, except literally it was a shot at the buzzer to go to the Final Four. Duke was down by one. Kentucky thought they were going to have an upset run to the Final Four. Christian Laettner rips their hearts out. All the Louisville fans are laughing and pointing at Kentucky. That was great. Kentucky fans hate that play, but like that play against LSU on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, exactly same play, just about catch, turn, shoot, game, buzzer. It was awesome. It was a great shot. So Malachi Moreno, he is a Kentucky boy. Congratulations to him. But like I said, UK is life and death to beat bad LSU teams. Okay, yeah. So I'm not trying to hear that. They keep trying to talk crazy. But we're still in a lot better space. 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Texter says, I keep hearing when Michael Brown Jr. returns. Conwell missed the game and was out of shape and out of sync. Why are we expecting an instant change with Michael Brown when he returns? I'm going to tell you a couple reasons. While I agree with you, yes, Michael, definitely in terms of getting up to speed and all that type of deal, it's going to be a little bit. But the reason why you're going to expect an instant change when Michael comes back is because there are just certain things about Michael, his natural basketball senses, and the things he can do in terms of, attacking a team and a team having to respect him. When you're able to move both Ryan Conwell and Isaac McNeely off, if they do decide to go bigger and go with a Javon Hadley, if you move those guys off ball and allow Michael Brown Jr. to be the initiator of the offense, it gets guys open shots. And that's why as soon as Michael gets back, the offense will be worlds better because now you have your playmaking, ball-dominant point guard back, and he's going to be able to create open shots or, get downhill one-on-one to get to the rim and create opportunities for his team to either score or get guys open shots. So even, with a Michael Brown Jr. needing to get his timing together, needing to figure out and get his feet back under him, those things will get better immediately. when you have him. And not only do you have that, Dre, you have everybody else goes back into their normal slots, right?
Like, yeah, so like Pat Kelsey made the system. Well, Michael Brown, like everything, like all the ball handling runs through Michael.
Yes.
So like that's why in Kentucky everything was balanced.
Yes.
And no one was like out of the spots. And Adrian Willie didn't have to bring the ball up the court. And Ron Cullen didn't have to get that tired and turn the ball over that many times.
Yeah.
Because Pat Kelsey's offense is run through Michael Brown. Like, it's not run through Ron Conwell. Yes, it can be run by Ron Conwell, but it's not to have the same effort and the same points value. Everyone's not going to have the same ball handling, like not in the same area of the expertise. Because Ron Conwell is a guy that catches the ball, run around a little bit, and then pass the ball right back.
Yes.
Give it to Sananafu. Sananafu isn't the one to come up, set a screen, run down the court, go set a 3-pointer, then run back down the court. He's more of a stay in the little paint area, not past 3-point line, get the ball, back him down, pass it, dribble the ball sometimes. But everything runs through Michael. So no matter what, when you get Michael back, you see a lot more difference around how everyone's like running, like positivity. Everyone's playing with the heart, boldness. Everything's gonna change.
No, I agree with you. Like, and you said the perfect word, balance. Like, everything about Louisville's offense is out of balance right now. And Michael being back as that primary point guard just puts everybody else back in balance. So no, I'm totally agree. I totally agree with you.
It's like when Chucky Hepburn was out, where Terrence Edwards tried to bring up the ball.
Yeah,
it's like that. It was,
it's just, it looks crazy.
We were scared.
Yeah, it looked crazy. It's like when you don't have that point guard. That's the thing. Like, people keep trying to talk about, this team, this team was so much better when Chucky Hepburn was there, or when last year's team versus this year. I'm like, well, it's not really fair to compare because they had Chucky Hepburn every game last year, and Louisville just does not have that right now. Michael missing all these games. I think fans have almost forgotten how good Louisville was with Michael. You know what I mean? Like, they'll remember soon enough. Michael will be back. Like I said, people that think, I'm going to just tell people this right now. There are a lot of people out there that say that Michael's, I don't want to say necessarily he's faking the injury, but he's milking the injury. He's not trying to come back. I can tell you that there's definitely been an injury, and they are definitely moving with caution to make sure that he's 100% back and he's 100% ready before he gets out there. But he will come back. And like I said, the hope and the expectation is that he'll be back in the next 2 to 3 games. So, you would hope with this week off upcoming, with the game maybe the next Saturday, could there be a possibility that, Michael Brown, who's been listed as out on the injury reports for the last couple of weeks, could that go from out to questionable? Or could that go from out to probable? I think that there's a chance that could happen next Saturday. So just hold tight, people. Relax, calm down. There's still plenty of basketball to be played. So
the blood pressure high.
Yeah, exactly. Just woosah. You know what I'm saying? Breathe it out. Texter says, I'm so sick of KP. His 2 years have nothing to do with Pat's losing. He reset the bar, so anything bad is on him. Yeah, no. Kenny Payne has nothing to do with any losses that, that Pat Kelsey has right now. Like, the whole Kenny Payne thing is done with. Kenny Payne was terrible.
Throw that era out the window.
Yes, no, we don't want. He has nothing to do. Kenny Payne has nothing to do with the success or failures of Pat Kelsey. I totally agree with that. Anybody who's comparing that or saying that, Louisville's losing because of what Kenny Payne did, nah, all that's done. And lastly, Texter says, Raashaan, LA 28 ticket registration is open now. You know what to do. I don't know what L28 ticket registration means. You know what L28 ticket registration means, Jay?
No, but is it the tickets to the national championship game?
I know, that would be nice. Yeah. That would be nice. Absolutely. I don't know. It says Go USA, Bill from Denver. So, well, thank you, Bill, for listening. And you spelled my name right. So appreciate you. But I don't know about the LA 28.
Maybe you have 4 more. Please send it to me.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I appreciate it. All right, Dre, we got to get into some of these college football, not college football, get into these NFL games. The playoffs are rolling. There's some very good games upcoming. Last week we saw a ton of great games. We saw just dominant performances by the Texans over the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday night. We saw the Bears come back and beat the Green Bay Packers. I was laughing at all the Packer fans. It was hilarious. The Rams, I thought the Rams were going to lose to the Carolina Panthers.
Matthew Stafford did everything wrong. And the wide receiver had to play defense that game.
It was crazy. I thought that they were going to lose that game, but somehow Puka Nacua kept that guy from intercepting that pass. Because if he holds into that interception, it was over. Game was over. We got the 49ers and Seahawks. Seahawks don't know if they're going to have Sam Darnold. Sounds like he's a game time decision. The 49ers were able to get it done. So there's a lot of good games going on. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars got done in by the Bills last week. So we got 4 good games. I want to know your thoughts. We're just going to go through each one of these games for the playoffs. And let's start with the most interesting game because it's the one that I want to hear about from you. Okay, so we saw pretty much everything that the Texans could do in terms of C.J. Stroud to lose that game. C.J. Stroud had 4 turnovers himself.
Yeah, he was like Miller Marshall.
Fumbles, interceptions, just missing wide open play. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But the Texans defense absolutely shut down the Steelers. They still blew out the Steelers, even though they had 4 turnovers.
Do you know what the Texans look like?
Who's that?
Miami Dolphins.
I mean,
like Tua and
yeah, it was terrible.
I mean,
I don't know what CJ Stroud was doing last week, but hey, they still got the win. They got to go up to Foxborough. They're on the road, taking on the Patriots. Drake May and company took care of the Chargers last week. What are you thinking about this one, Dre? Do the Texans have the magic? Can they go up there and knock off the Patriots in New England? Or are the Texans going home?
So the MVP, Drake May, they're winning because the Texans act like the wannabe Miami Hurricanes, the defense, and then in the missing offense.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Patriots have a well-rounded team. I mean, they have a good offense, balanced defense sometimes, questionable defense sometimes, but the offense, it's just really good. I think the Patriots are going to get that. But it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a very close game, though.
Yeah.
But the Texans' defense is like no-fly zone and the Legion of Doom at the same time. So,
yeah. Well, hey, I'm going to tell you this. I just looked up because Nico Collins, the all-star, superstar wide receiver for the Texans, we saw him go down. He had that tough fall, concussion more than likely, against the Steelers. Yeah, in the fourth quarter, he couldn't brace himself. Head slammed into the turf, that cold turf up there at the Steelers stadium. He's not going to play. He's already been ruled out. So he's definitely not going to play for the Texans.
Well, they're losing now. So.
Yeah, it's a tough loss for them. But Christian Kirk played really, really well for them. The running game was on point. That really has not been them all year. But I'm gonna tell you what, Dre, I'm taking the Texans. The Patriots are a 3-point favorite in this game. They are -3.
Yeah, with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, I'm taking the Texans. I think the Texans get it done. I'm gonna tell you something about. Let me just tell you about your Patriots team real quick, Dre. Let me tell you something about this team.
The Pats?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. This is who the Patriots have faced over the last, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Okay, the Miami Dolphins, they suck.
Win.
The Jets at the Jets, they suck.
Win.
The Ravens, we know that the Ravens suck. They fired Jim Harbaugh.
Win.
They suck. They lost to the Bills. Okay.
Win. Oh, lost.
They lost that one. They played the New York Giants. They suck. The Bengals, they suck. The Jets, they suck. And the Buccaneers, they pretty much suck too. They have not played a good team, Dre, in like a long time.
But
and the only good team they played was the Bills, and they lost to them.
But it was a close game, though. It was a close game.
I mean, now, granted, they did beat the Chargers last week, 16-3.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Justin Herbert, and everybody knows that Herbert turns into a pumpkin as soon as the playoff starts.
Yeah, true.
He's terrible.
But during the regular season, they have been pretty good, though.
They have been good.
You can't lie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That is fair. But I'm telling you right now that Texans defense, dog, is going to eat Drake May for lunch, breakfast, and dinner.
That's what they said to Tom Brady, but he won.
That's fair.
You know how many Super Bowls he won? The GOAT.
Hey, let me tell you something. Number 12 ain't walking through that door, and Drake May ain't Tom Brady.
Number 12 ain't walking through that door, but you know who number is?
Who's that?
Drake May is. He's walking in that door.
Oh, my
goodness. He is the successor.
Okay.
If Tom Brady's the GOAT, then Drake May's the Ram. Okay? He's knocking down trees, knocking down all these teams.
Okay. All right, we gonna see.
He's taking teams. He's taking their trophies.
I like it.
And what trophies don't take is the Lombardi Trophy.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. Fair enough. I will hear that. I will hear that argument. I am not mad at it at all. All right. So let's go to this one. All right. The other Sunday matchup, we got the Rams, who just barely slid by the Carolina Panthers. We got the Bears coming off the big energy of the comeback versus the Packers. It's going to be maybe the coldest game in the history of Soldier Field. It's going to be like -5 or something crazy. For that
I watch people have their shirts off and stuff.
It's ridiculous. Anybody who has their shirts off needs to have their head examined. The Rams are a 4.5-point favorite, but I've heard that Matthew Stafford has never won a game under like 25 degrees. Like he's never won a game where the temperature outside was 25 degrees or less.
So he turns into an ice cube.
Basically, yes.
He's frozen.
As of right now, it's AccuWeather says it's going to be 21 degrees at kickoff, and it's probably going to feel like it's 5. So what are you thinking? Do you think that Caleb and the Bears can get it done, or is Stafford going to walk into Chicago and get the win?
So what we've seen over the last year with the Soldier Field and the Bears is that the Bears usually play the best after halftime.
Yes,
that's usually what happens. Because they start off not that good. Like they start off.
Yeah, they always start out slow every game.
Kick a field goal.
Yeah,
maybe a touchdown. Punt, field goal, punt.
Yeah,
maybe touchdown, then punt. So that equals about 10 points.
Yes.
Other side of the field. I don't know, like Texans, like 21 points. Yes. 1 halftime.
Yes.
And then I don't know what happens. Probably juice them up with steroids. Get some smelling salts in them. They're like, and become like.
Yeah, they can become super team after halftime every time.
2016 Lamar. I mean, like,
yeah,
be like they just like score another 45 points on the team, and then the other team scores no points. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy.
No, you're right. I mean, they are flip flop. The Rams start fast and usually kind of stumble down the break, but Bears usually start slow and then are monsters after halftime. So who you got? So who you think's gonna win it? No pressure.
I mean, I think the Bears probably.
Okay, all right.
Because Matthew Stafford only has one person to throw to.
Yeah, Devontae Adams every time. Well, I don't know. He'll throw it to Puka too.
Yeah, Puka Nacua.
He got Puka Nacua.
Is Devontae Adams even playing?
Devontae's playing.
Okay, so still up to Devontae. See if he can catch the ball or not.
Okay, so
you know what? Don't throw the tutu out well, but
but you're still taking the Bears.
I'm still taking the Bears.
Okay,
they have a solid defense.
I agree. I take the Bears in the slimmest of margins. I think that the Bears get it done. It's too cold to just go out there and throw the ball all over the place.
San Diego Chargers. But.
Yeah, like I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be a cold game. And I just don't think that the Rams is too pretty to win in that kind of weather. So, yeah, give me the Bears to get it done. Let's look at these last two kind of quick. Let's see. You got the Seahawks and 49ers, another rematch, NFC West. Seahawks are 7-point favorites. They don't know if Sam Darnold's going to be good to go. Do the 49ers get it done, or the Seahawks figure out a way to get it done at home? Best home field advantage in football.
That's the home of the 12s.
Yes, sir.
Seahawks. Look at the Seahawks to win.
Okay. I like it. I think that the Seahawks will find a way. 49ers have been playing. I don't know how they keep winning games, but they just keep finding a way. I agree with you. I think Seahawks find a way to get it done. And last but not least, Broncos, Bills.
Broncos.
Taking the Broncos? Easy?
Yep.
I agree with you. Yeah, give me the Broncos.
The elevation, literally and figuratively, is too high for the Bills.
I like it. No, I'm right there with you. I totally agree with you. All right, so what about today's game, Dre? Louisville, Pittsburgh Panthers. Louisville need this win on the road. Are they going to get it done? Can they go into Oakland Zoo and find that win when they need it?
So if you're listening to this right now, I'm sorry. CARDS cards.
I like it. I love the energy.
Cards with the W, bounce back. Go Cards.
Agreed. Very well said. I agree with you. I think that Louisville finds a way to get it done. I do hate the fact that Kenai Roos is out again, but we'll figure out a way to get it done. Thanks so much to intern Dre for being a part of the show. Thanks so much to you guys for listening in. Thanks to Jay Hass for calling in. Make sure you go out there. Check out our folks over at Feet First Store, feetfirst.com as well there in Southern Indiana. And Hoosiers, if you win the championship on Monday night, you will have made history. That's so that we will see that on a Disney made for TV movie. This is Raashaan Myers for intern Dre, and we are out. Thanks so much.